Buying in Laguna Woods Village is unique. We have stock cooperatives, condominiums, and the towers, each with different rules, approvals, and timelines. If you want a calm, confident purchase, you need clear answers about financing, escrow steps, and what a home warranty really covers in an age-qualified community. To make this simple, I recorded 3 expert interviews over Zoom with trusted local pros who work in Laguna Woods every single day. Let's demystify the process so you can focus on choosing the home and the lifestyle that fit you best. My name is Mark Blunden, Realtor with eXp Realty serving Laguna Woods Village. If you would like a no obligation buying or selling consultation, you can call, text, email, or schedule a Zoom. All our contact information is in the description below. Today, you'll hear from Matthew Rollins at Behrens Capital on financing, Stacy at Corner Escrow on the escrow process, and Sharon Whaley at Fidelity National Home Warranty on getting year 1 coverage right. Here's the plan. We start with lending so you know exactly what can and cannot be financed in the village. Then we walk the escrow timeline from offer to close. We finish with home warranty so you know how to set expectations and avoid surprises in your first year. First up, the money side. In Laguna Woods, stock cooperatives are all cash, while third mutual condominiums can be financed. Let us set expectations the right way with our first guest, Matthew Rollins from Behrens Capital. Okay, so Matthew, thank you for joining us today. First question, how did you come to residential lending and what's the guiding approach you use in the village?
Yes, hello, Mark. Yeah, Matthew Rollins of Behrens Capital here. History for Behrens Capital is my mother, Carolyn Behrens. She got in the mortgage business in 1986, has been doing Laguna Woods for 40 years now. And so we definitely are a pillar of the community, do a lot of loans in Laguna Woods. I've basically since working here since high school and kind of just gone through every position you could think of, processor, admin, underwriting, loan officer. Now I'm a loan originator, but kind of every hat I've worn it. In this field. Nice. That's really my start. It's just a family business. My uncle works here. My wife works at Behrens Capital. So it's a complete family. Laguna Woods has definitely been good to us. That's been our main market for, especially my mother, for 40 years now.
Awesome. Your name definitely comes up whenever we talk about lending in Laguna Woods. So grateful to have you here. We're now going to get into the questions. So for Laguna Woods specifically, we're looking to clarify financing. Question 1, stock cooperatives can't be financed, they're cash only, and third mutual condominiums can be financed. Can you clarify if that's correct and what's the reasoning behind that?
It's basically correct. I mean, there's kind of caveats to that. So we've done private financing on the co-ops, where it's just Carolyn Behrens is just like, so that's the current ruling is, and it's all based off the recognition agreement. So on co-ops or cooperatives, the HOA is the owner of the entire building, inside and outside.
Right.
So the main differential is for the condo, the HOA is responsible and owner of the structure. And so, and it kind of ties with insurance. It's called walls in versus walls out. So HOA is responsible for walls out for the condo. Buyer is responsible for walls in. The co-op, the HOA is responsible for everything. That's why you have to go through alterations apartments to get anything changed. They, any type of warranty. You hold ownership in the stock certificate. You kind of just have air rights. It's kind of like co-ops are more on the East Coast with like New York. It's kind of like owning an apartment. You have the occupancy rights and you hold a percentage share of ownership. That's a unit or HOA. In regards to financing, the HOA in general, so there's 2 HOAs. There's the co-op side, which is United Mutual. That's the co-op name. The condo is Third Laguna Hills Mutual. They both, even any conventional financing, so that's Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA, either side, you have to submit the condo or co-op documentation, like a questionnaire, insurance, budget. Everything has to be approved and reviewed by underwriting. Both these HOAs have issues due to the master insurance. The reason why the co-op has no financing through institutions, that HOA with that insurance issue, along with co-op ownership part of it, where you're just you're owning a percentage share or you don't have full ownership of the property. That is why, along with also that, I don't know if I mentioned the recognition agreement. That's a signature between, and it's a full document that basically kind of states an agreement between the HOA and the lender of terms, because you can't also, with the co-op, there's no deed in the sense you have that stock certificate, and there's no public recording.
Right.
So that's where the recognition agreement comes in. And it's really just the HOA keeping track of who has loans, and also a pledge to the lender, and also vice versa, where they make an agreement on what happens, and also what happens to the loan and the HOA dues and stuff like that. And so that agreement with the insurance issue, no institutional lender has agreed to do financing since 2021. And then the co-op side, or sorry, the condo side, they have financing because there is no recognition agreement because it's a condo. And that's really the main difference. They both have an insurance issue, but it's the second factor of the recognition agreement and the co-op ownership is why there's a difference.
Now, second question. For third mutual condominiums, which is where we're going to see most of the financing taking place, what should a buyer do to make sure they get through the pre-approval process right to the finish line?
So definitely you want to work with people who know Laguna Woods. That's even if you're doing cash or the loan. Their HOA requirements are for both. So even if you're paying cash, you still have to meet the financial requirements. And so if you're working with an escrow or an agent who doesn't know those, it's only to your benefit to make sure you qualify. Because also if you see an issue, you could try to work or plan out how to solve that issue. But if your agent or whoever your professionals that you're working with, if they don't understand the goal and what's needed, they can't guide you through the process. And so that's number one, is make sure you're working with people who know Laguna Woods. And don't just assume that, I guess talking to any buyer watching this, just don't rely on yourself to figure out the problems yourself. You need to get in contact with a professional like Mark or myself, Matthew, at Behrens Capital, to know and plan out the purchase with you. There's a lot of misconstrued information on Laguna Woods. Not everything is just readily available to be reviewed unless you know the requirements, and a lot of it is not on paper either. It's just this is what the HOAs, it's a whisper in the wind. Like this is this, and so you want to have people who know what they're doing, and that's the main point, is work with professionals that know Laguna Woods.
Okay, next question. When buyers model out their monthly payment on a condo, how do you help them account for all the different components like principal, interest, taxes, HOA fees, and insurance?
So on the mortgage, just on all expenses, the mortgage is just, I run the rate quote based off the parameters that they're trying to buy. We shop around too, just to kind of go into that, but there's multiple financing options and get you the best rate, go over the monthly costs on the mortgage part with any products they want to do. As for insurance, the insurance is the most variable one because the client gets their own insurance. Plus, depending on where you're located in Laguna Woods, you might have different terms. Because it's only inside of the unit you're insuring, it's usually rather cheaper than like if you're doing a single family.
Right.
So I kind of just estimate $100 a month, give or take $20. And unless it's like a large purchase, like 800,000 to 2 million, then it gets more expensive. But on average, I kind of just adjust for the sales price, but it's going to be around $1,200, $1,000 a year. That's give or take, kind of depends. But tax rate in Laguna Woods is slightly above 1%. It's 1.028. So it's a zero there. So it's basically 1%.
Right.
Depends by the sales price. Average HOA dues is $8.55 and 17 cents. There's some units that are different than that. Some have like an elevator on the building. That's what I believe makes it $8.73. So like the HOA and taxes, that's pretty constant. And then but we review all that because people need to know what their total expenses are monthly, just because that's what's going out the door. So I definitely review all that. I usually send a loan scenario or purchase scenario after I talk to the clients.
Great. Just
so you see the breakdown, all the monthly costs, because also you don't want any surprises.
Right.
Especially purchase is serious. Any loan is serious. It's very important to be correct up front. Behrens Capital, we understand that this is serious. It's one of the biggest things you do in your life. We want the buyer to know, but this is what it's going to be projected to be once you're owner. And everyone's gone and you're living in your house, this is what it's going to cost.
Exactly. I actually have two extra questions that came to me while you were talking. So one, does your firm lend on condos in the towers, and does that differ at all from units in Third Mutual?
Yeah, so, well, we don't do financing in the towers. I have never actually seen it done on the towers.
Okay.
Reason is that it's considered a condo hotel. There is some financing, but sorry, I keep on getting, I don't know if you can hear that ping, but on the condo hotels, they differentiate it on what's provided. And so if they call it, it's called board and care, because there's any type of care, which they serve meals there.
Yes.
And I think there's like maid service or something.
Yes.
Because of that differential, lenders don't want to touch it because it becomes a different category. I mean, I guess it's been, I don't count the years anymore, but I guess it's like 15, I guess now. Doing it for a while. And Carolyn would say the same. I would say we probably have never seen the towers, maybe around 2000, 2000, something like that.
And then my other question was, the non-warrantable component of these loans for Third Mutual, does that cause the mortgage rate to be higher than like a conventional 30-year fixed mortgage on a single family home? Yes.
Yeah, so the non-warrantable is a hit to the rate because, first of all, it doesn't meet those like the Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, FHA, or VA. I would say a majority of lenders do not have programs for the non-warrantable when it becomes in regards to the insurance. So like a lot of lenders have non-QM. You see non-QM, non-qualified mortgage, you see non-warrantable, but that's for like litigation or investor concentration, or recently it's the balcony bill. So California passed a balcony bill where you had to have balconies inspected and repaired in 2025. Right. Lenders have solutions for that, but not every lender has a solution for the master insurance issue that Laguna Woods has. But in general, it's kind of like just a separate product. So non-QM in general is higher. So if let's just say conventional rates are 6% today on average, these would be like 6.5. Okay. So that's in the range. Anyone buying right now or refinancing in Laguna Woods, like 6.25 to 6.75. That's like your rate range. Unless it's kind of like the same thing. It's like when I say a hit to the interest rate, it's almost if you were a client and you had a lower credit score, and that's a hit. You have an adjustment to the rate. You have a higher rate if you have a lower credit score. It's kind of the same thing as this. The lender is taking on additional risk because of the issue, and it's also about sellability. Like later on, these are 30-year fixed mortgages. They want to make sure that over the life of the 30-year fix, they have a place that this loan is wanted and to be serviced. That's ultimately what it's about. We have lenders that you're going to pay a little bit more though. I would say the benefit of Laguna Woods is location and sales price. So when any client that I go with and I talk about the rate and monthly costs, a high rate on a low balance is a lot better than a low rate on a high balance. The balance is the main indicator of a cost. Once the buyers understand that this is what their monthly costs are going to be, Laguna Woods is the most affordable area in all of Orange County. Yes. And so that's the benefit, and it's just kind of conveying that to the client. Math is math. I guess numbers are numbers. And once Laguna Woods works, even with the financing be a little higher, it's the best value of it.
Next, let's look how the file moves from offer to closing. Laguna Woods Escrow includes steps that are unique to the village, so let's dive in with Stacy Cope from Corner Escrow. Stacy, thank you for joining us today. We're so grateful to have you here. I wanted to start just by asking how you got into escrow and what makes your process work well for Laguna Woods purchases.
Yes, so funny story actually. Escrow was not my dream job by any means. I think 25 years ago, I didn't even know what escrow meant or was. Actually in college, in the process of getting my AA degree in liberal studies and my teaching credential, when one day my sister called me and said, "Hey, guess what? You're going to be an aunt." So of course I dropped everything and moved from Riverside to Orange County to be with my sister and help her with her first baby. And then when I moved out here, she said I needed a job because I needed help contribute. So she got me a job at her escrow firm where she worked. Okay. So she does escrow. And then I just started at the very bottom as a receptionist, and I worked really hard. and I kept getting promoted, and here I am today. Now I manage one of our busiest escrow offices.
And how does your process work well for Laguna Woods in particular, which is different from buying in other places?
Yes, it sure is. And what I think works best process for Laguna works well is because I have a team of people. We all work very well together. You have to have a team in Laguna Woods. It is very time consuming. There's 10 times more processing than a regular sale. It's 100% team effort between the agent, the escrow, the title company, the HOA. You cannot do this job alone. Everyone on my team is very trained, very well trained, and any one of us can do each other's job. So we don't have to feel bad about calling out sick or taking a vacation. Right. My lead assistant, Kristen, is Generation Laguna Woods. Her grandma is Linda Woods, who worked in Laguna Woods from the very beginning and retired working in Laguna Woods for 30 years. And then her mom, Susan, was one of the very first escrow officers who worked a Laguna Woods desk. And then Kristen learned under her mom, and then, that didn't pan out well. And now I was lucky enough to have her on my team.
Yes.
I've worked with Kristen for over 10 years now.
Okay.
And then Gabby's been great as well. She started with us right before COVID hit, and she is a lot like me, very passionate for helping others and a very quick learner. She has just excelled on our team. So the team is important.
Yes, absolutely. So let's move on to the first question. So can you walk us through the escrow timeline for a Laguna Woods purchase? What's different here compared to buying outside of the village?
So it is very different. Laguna Woods, as I know you have come to know, has very special requirements for every purchase transaction in there. They have very strict rules and guidelines. We have to follow each and every one of them, or we simply cannot close. There's 3 different types of sales in Laguna Woods. You have your condos, which is also known as third mutual, and then you have your co-ops, or the condos. Let me go back, sorry. The condos are very similar to outside sales. The deed is passed through a grant deed. You just have the financial requirements for the village. And then you have the co-ops, which is a little bit different. That is also known as United Laguna Woods Mutual, and they are stock and lease transfers. So there's no grant deed. The client does get a copy of a stock certificate, which is 1 share of the corporation in Laguna Woods that they hold on to as their proof of ownership. And then you have the towers, which is also known as Laguna Woods Mutual number 50. And they are kind of similar to the condos. They do get passed through a grant deed. They do have different types of units. You have the penthouse that has like the 2 bedrooms or a 1 bedroom. And then you have like hotel-like settings where it's just a bed and a kitchenette. And those towers are more expensive wise as far as the HOA dues. However, it does come with certain services like housekeeping, meal plans, things like that. It's not assisted living, but it does have more benefits for buyers who just need just a little bit more hand holding, a little bit, I guess to say.
How long does an escrow take in Laguna Woods versus outside of Laguna Woods?
Yes, so Laguna Woods right now is running about 60 days. Sometimes we can close sooner, but I would say on average right now, based on the closings that we've had over the last month or 2, and that is because the board approval process alone is running about 4 weeks. So what happens is once we get an escrow and we open it, it usually takes us the first 2 to 3 days to get all the information from the parties, seller's information, buyer information, trust information, open up title, see if there's anything on the chain, or if it's a co-op, we request ownership from the HOA directly so we know who our authorized sellers are. And then sometimes we have to wait on HOA information as well for them to give us information like model information, carport number, things like that. After the 3 days, once we've been able to input our file, we can typically get packages out about 1 to 2 days after that. So packages are going out around day 4 or 5, and then depending how quick the clients can sign and return those, it will depend on when we can submit. Our clientele is elderly. Most of them do not have computers or things like that. Don't do DocuSign a lot of the time. So we do meet with a lot of clients, and we have one conference room and we're here 8 hours a day. We could only cram so many appointments into the day.
Yes.
So oftentimes it does take us a couple days to schedule those appointments or get the paperwork back. So I want to say on average, we're submitting packages between a week and a half.
Okay.
Once escrow's open. And then from there, we hand deliver each package. And then once I hand deliver it to the board, they are taking approximately 4 weeks for review. So during that period, it's just a waiting period. And clients get frustrated the most during that period, only because they want an update. And unfortunately, we don't have an update, and the HOA won't give us an update because it's in line. So that's one of the most frustrating parts during the transaction. However, during that time period is a great time to start working on the HOA corrections, getting all the repairs done and everything else that a normal transaction would have. And then getting the final inspection ordered. So that way, when we do get board approval in 4 weeks, then we're ready to roll for closing.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Once you get that board approval, is it like, say, a week until you can close, or what's that final time frame look like?
Once board approval comes in, it takes maybe 2 to 3 days to close. That is if we have the first and final inspection.
Yes.
So any agent interested in taking a listing in Laguna Woods, the first thing they should do is order that first inspection.
Yes.
Because that first inspection is taking anywhere from 20 to 30 days to get it. I know the inspector running a 2-week turn time just to put you on the schedule to get the inspection done. So I would say order the first inspection. You can't order the final inspection. Only escrow can order the final inspection. So we will order that once we're ready for it. And then, get the corrections done once we submit for board approval. And then hopefully we can order that final inspection while we're still waiting for board approval and have that final inspection in. So that way the second board approval comes in, we can request closing funds and then proceed with closing as quickly as possible. Because by that point, everybody's already frustrated and angry, and everybody wants to close right now.
Exactly. Okay, next question. What are the top 3 milestones that buyers must hit on time? Things like earnest money, disclosures, or HOA specific requirements.
The top 3 for a normal sale would be, as you know, the earnest money, your loan approval, contingency removal, things like that. In Laguna Woods, it is primarily first inspection, final inspection, and board approval. Because if you do not have those 3, you cannot close. So those 3 are the most important during a Laguna Woods transaction.
Okay, thank you. And then how many times does a final inspection delay closing? Like how many times are people not ready with that?
A lot of the time. I want to say probably 60 to 70% of our escrows end up being paid because the seller thought they did all the corrections and they may have missed one, and then the inspector has to go back out.
Right.
So final inspections, if it's a clean report and there's no items on there, once escrow orders it, the turnaround time is about 5 days for that report.
Right.
If there's items on there that need to be corrected, or even permits can take 4 to 6 weeks to obtain.
Right.
So that's why it's important to get started on it early. But if there's corrections that the inspector has to go out the property to re-inspect, then those final inspection reports take anywhere from 10 to 20 days to get. Oftentimes the sellers are still working on the corrections and we haven't ordered the final until the very end, and then that puts us in a spot for delay.
Okay, so definitely important to get those inspections.
Very important. And I want to add in, those inspection reports are good for 6 months.
Okay, and then our next question, what common mistakes derail closings here, and how can buyers keep their file clean and calm so that they can close on time with minimal stress?
I would say the number 1 mistake is not doing your homework on Village. They do have a website that some of their helpful information's on there. It is a lot of information to digest, but that is why it's also good to have a good team.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
having your team makes all the difference. You can just call me and say, hey, Stacy, what's the rule on this? Or what's this? Can you explain to me on that? Can you do this? Or can you, and I'm just right there and I can pick up and I can just tell you exactly what it is.
Right.
Laguna Woods changes the rules so often that it is hard to keep up with the website, and sometimes their information on their website is outdated. I know that they try their best to keep it updated, but because we do a high volume of Laguna Woods and we're constantly closing 30 to 60 a month, we see all the changes because it happens on our files, and then we know how to inform the community of what's changed and what's new. Like, for example, effective January 1st, the GRF fee is going up to $10,000. The team makes all the difference. So I would say that's the number one mistake. Number two is not getting the buyer vetted or pre-screened prior to accepting their offer. One of the services I provide is I am happy to pre-qualify a buyer. Either Kristen or I are capable of pre-screening them. We just ask that the buyer or the buyer's agent send us an email, and then we can respond with a list of items that we need in order to pre-screen the buyer. We're happy to do it because time and time again, we open escrows and then a week and a half goes in. Once we get all their paperwork back, they don't qualify, and then we have to cancel, and it wastes everybody's time. Because, as you know, they're very time consuming. We have to prepare all the necessary forms. It doesn't take us 15 minutes to, process a package.
Right.
Gabby's usually on it for 45 minutes to an hour each package. So they are very time consuming.
Yes.
And then the number three, I would say, is that agents need to be more involved with their client on these Laguna Woods deals. It's not, I know most agents on a regular sale, you have communication with your client, but it never really involves a lot of hand holding because clients are maybe younger or they're computer savvy and they have all that, communication that you don't really need to be hand holding. But in Laguna Woods, because of our clientele and they don't have computers and stuff, it's hard for them to gather up their financials and submit to escrow. They don't know how to use the computer. They don't know how to download the credit report. The credit report is the big one. So many buyers call screaming and yelling at me because they do not know how to obtain a credit report. And the H requires a credit report to be from one of the 3 credit bureaus. But I do know they have accepted the rent spree, as well as on co-ops. They have required background checks as well. So on the background check website, you can request a credit report and they will take that credit report on the co-ops only. Okay. So just being able to communicate with your client, hold their hand, help them get the paperwork in order, makes a huge difference for the clients.
Hi, it's Mark here. If you're exploring 55 plus communities in Orange County, such as Laguna Woods Village, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Whether you're moving in 9 days or 9 months, we'll walk you through everything from floor plans to financing, HOAs and monthly costs. Call, text, email or schedule a Zoom below. We're here to make your move simple and stress-free. Now let's wrap up with our third interview by talking about home warranties for peace of mind in year 1. Next up is Sharon Whaley from Fidelity National Home Warranty. Sharon, thank you for joining me today on this video about speaking to the experts around Laguna Woods Village. First question, how did you come into the home warranty world, and how do you set clear expectations for what a warranty does and doesn't cover?
Years ago, I'm still licensed, but I don't sell recently. I sold real estate and did very well for about 10 years, but I had 4 daughters in sports, and they were getting offers for college degrees and stuff, and all of a sudden I had no time for anything as far as real estate, like the open houses and the things. That we moved to South County. My farm had been Fountain Valley, where we came from, and traffic time, it just wasn't working with going away every weekend and their sports and stuff. So I thought I'd give this a try for a short time and then go back to selling. And 28 years later, I'm still here. It is. I mean, it's worked out this way, and I just, I'm happy with it. It's good. It's me helping people, and when they have a problem, they call me and I'm able to help them with it.
That's great. I'm sure they really appreciate that. Your name always comes up whenever I speak about home warranties in Laguna Woods.
I wrote the contract originally for Laguna Woods 28 years ago. Some have tried to copy it, but none of them really have. And so I have that great relationship with Laguna Woods.
First question, for a typical Laguna Woods manor with older appliances, such as older HVAC units and older plumbing systems, how should a buyer structure their coverage with you?
I would say go straight to the enhanced plan. It is such a great discount for Laguna Woods. That covers things that a lot of the units won't even need. So it will include washer, dryer, refrigerator, and they might not need it, but the price break is so good and the coverage is excellent. So it has a lot of things, and I would just tell everybody, maybe depending on who your errors and emissions insurance is, go with the Crest plan, that's $385, or go with the regular one, that's $355. Either one can use the Crest because the Crest is 13 months, so it gives them an extra month of coverage. And that's what most of them do. And then when it comes to like the co-ops, back in the day, we did the co-op because nobody was changing everything out and the mutual would replace certain things. So now they're all remodeling them and nobody has the GE appliances anymore. They've added a washer, dryer, moved the water heater. So now they have all these things that aren't covered. So when you have a co-op that's been remodeled, always go with that condo plan because you're going to need all that coverage and it is going to save you a ton. Yeah, and one of the big differences for Laguna Woods is we give them a really good price break on that service fee. It's $65 versus if you sell anything outside of Laguna Woods, it's now $100 for them. So it's a great price. So just in case, we have, because there's only a few things that's not covered in the towers, but most people don't sell the towers. But if you do, we do have that plan too.
Okay. That's great to know. So for a co-op, clients would use a condo plan because that's the best plan since most of them have been remodeled now.
Yeah, occasionally I'll still get one that's just a heat pump or maybe a heat pump and they added a ceiling fan and they just haven't been remodeled over the year. But nowadays it's real rare. And most of them just go with that condo plan.
What are the common exclusions and dollar caps that surprise people? And how does the service call fee structure work? And where do buyers often misunderstand their coverage?
Well, it is the $65 cover fee in service fee in Laguna Woods. They have to understand there's several things about home warranty that's really important. Everything has to be in good working order at the close of escrow. And that's one of the reasons Laguna Woods gets a pretty big, heavy discount because we don't see as many claims in Laguna Woods because there are so many inspections, especially on the co-ops where the mutual does it and then they hire their own inspector and then the mutual comes back before it closes to make sure everything's working correctly. That is, something that's important, but everything's based on not when you do the home inspection, but the close of escrow. So that's important to know. And everything needs to be due to normal wear and tear. And when you think of home warranty coverage, think of things in the house that run, not structural things. So if you can turn it on and off, there's a good chance we're going to cover it. So like the electrical, the plumbing, the HVAC systems, the, whether the furnace or the AC, or a lot of times it's heat pumps there. Most of the time it's going to be a heat pump. People think the AC units there are AC units. They're not. Generally, they're always heat pumps. They don't understand that even though it looks like a regular AC, but that's something that can be kind of confusing to them. Limits, things that you need to know, our limits on appliances are $5,000 each appliance. So if we're going to replace it, we go up to $5,000. But if you walk in and you see this one's been really upgraded. They've added a built-in refrigerator, things with really high-end appliances. And there's a couple of them that have done that. We have something called the appliance limit upgrade option, and that takes those limits up to $10,000.
Oh, wow.
Normally they would be under that 5,000. Rarely anything would go over that. And that's towards, how much we'd spend to replace it. But if you see that built-in refrigerator or something, you do want to add that other one. And normally they'd still be fixed and might not need that. But if we can't fix it and they go to replace it, those are very expensive. Some of the other limits is like inaccessible plumbing. That is limited to $1,000. I don't see this too much in Laguna Woods, like slab leaks and things. So if home warranty companies do not reroute, if it needed to be rerouted, we would cash them that out and they could hire their own person to do it.
Okay.
Something that you see with a lot of companies, all of a sudden, they're starting to limit the HVAC system coverage. Some of them are limiting now to $5,000. We don't have a dollar limit on the AC unit. That we're good, but homeowners are always most likely going to have some kind of out-of-pocket costs because there will be modifications and things like that that are structural that they will have to pay for. If third-party testing, which is, you have to have it in California in order to get the permit. So if it's Title 24 testing, that's going to be on the homeowner too. They ought to know that yes, home warranties are going to cover a lot, but they will at times have out-of-pocket costs they do have to cover. The big one with the HVAC is we don't have a dollar limit on Freon. So if they have one of the old units that still use the R22, we will still pay the full amount of the Freon, which is running about $100 a pound. Many companies now limit that to $10 a pound, where if there's a major repair where they take it out and then go to put it back on, the homeowner could be charged easily over $1,000 for Freon costs. We don't have a dollar limit on Freon either.
That's great. And then would you include code upgrades as part of that modifications that you mentioned on the homeowner?
With that enhanced plan, they have up to $250 that we will spend towards code upgrades.
Okay.
When we're replacing something, that would come into play. Not if they get an inspection and it says, oh, you need to upgrade this or do that. That won't apply. It's just when we're replacing something, if it's required.
In the first 30 days after closing, what should a buyer do so that any future claims are smooth if something were to fail?
Some companies, some of them have 90-day. Ours is 30-day, like a check and advise. Because a lot of times people move in and all of a sudden we get this phone call immediately with this whole list of things that needs to be repaired. If escrow closed and they call us and they say, oh, we just moved in, turned on the dishwasher for the first time and it flooded, it's not working, that means it's not covered because that would be a pre-existing condition. So everything has to be working at the close of escrow. So those walkthroughs, even you have your inspections sometimes 30, 60 days ahead of time, things can happen in that time frame. So when you do your final walkthrough, you really need to check everything else again to make sure that it's working. So when you move in and you use that dishwasher twice, once or twice, then it worked fine. And then that third time, all of a sudden it failed and it's only a week in, then you're fine. As long as it was working when you moved in. That's important. So if they call us and they say, oh, I just turned it on for the first time and it wasn't working, they're going to get that denial over the phone.
Today you heard how financing really works in the village, how escrow moves from offer to close, and how to set up a home warranty that actually helps you in year one. When we work together, we'll confirm your mutual eligibility and monthly HOA fee up front. We'll align your lender pre-approval with the condo project review requirements, and we'll coordinate escrow and home warranty timelines so your file stays calm and on schedule. Our goal is simple: low stress, no surprises, and a clean, on-time closing. If you'd like our Laguna Woods Buyer's Guide, a no-obligation planning call, or an exclusive tour of the village, call, text, email, or schedule a Zoom. All our contact information can be found in the description below. Thank you to our expert guests who recorded on Zoom with us today. That's Matthew Rollins from Behrens Capital, Stacy Coate from Corner Escrow, and Sharon Whaley from Fidelity National Home Warranty. All their contact information is also in the description below. I'm Mark Blunden with eXp Realty, and I'd love to help you buy confidently in Laguna Woods Village.